Priceline. What's that? It's that commercial. Go to your happy Priceline. There's also that commercial. I think it's either Starbucks or Apple, and it's like the guy playing something. It's like do 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 do. That was nothing like it. Anyways, guys, we got Let's Talk Rockets, episode number 17 here. But let me make sure that we got the tags running on the live stream. Shout out to everybody who tuned into our last live. We had over 1,000 total viewers. We got another jam-packed show here today. I was thinking we were actually going to go a stream every other day until the draft, but it's looking like we could probably do a stream every day because of all the news and rumors. So in today's Let's Talk Rockets, we have Cam Whitmore. We're going to just talk a bunch of draft because I have a bunch of opinions on both of our draft picks. Apparently, Dillon Brooks is favored to go to the Houston Rockets. I'm actually not all that opposed to it. We're going to break that down. We're going to get into some free agency rumors. We're going to do all of it. So my name is Jackson. I'll post daily Houston Rockets content. Be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. We're trying to hit 3,000 subscribers. I'm going to post a date that I want to hit at least 3K, and I want to do it by Summer League. Don't remember when Summer League is exactly. I think it's near my birthday, which is the end of July. But anyways, let's get into it. All right. So first off, we have a tweet here. And by the way, guys, throw in, whether you're watching this live, or especially if you're watching this live, throw in any chats, any questions, any topics you guys want to talk about it. I'm still keeping this pretty loose. I know I talk about it every time I do these, but like ideally I want to get Let's Talk Rockets as a podcast. It's just nobody was listening to them. And, I really like the interactive feel on these YouTubes, obviously. But if you want these on podcast form, Apple, Spotify, et cetera, let me know down below because I can definitely get that going. Yeah, I mean, that's really it. That's what is it called? The housekeeping. The house. That's today's housekeeping. So on the screen here, you can see we have a notification. There has been plenty of buzz about the Rockets registering interest in moving up in the draft from the number 4 pick. I'll say a couple of things about this. Obviously, my draft pick is Amin Thompson. All right. That's who I'm going with at number 4. It's important to keep in mind that we're less than a week away from the draft. And, with the NBA Finals officially concluding, even though guys like, Houston, we've been in the offseason for quite some time now, it's important to remember that there are so many smoke screens being thrown out there. We're seeing Damian Lillard. We're seeing Bradley Beal. We're seeing, could the Hornets want an arm or the sun, the moon, the stars, and some beachfront property, and also a variety bag of Lay's chips. Like, there's so many smoke screens going on right now that it's hard. I wouldn't trust anything that I'm reading right now, even if it's from like a trusted source like Jake Fisher. I mean, Jake Fisher is not my favorite reporter in the game for several reasons, specifically related to the Houston Rockets, but neither here nor there. I don't think we move up from 4 is the point I'm trying to get at here. We certainly have enough assets to do it. I think trading for Zion Williamson is a horrendous idea and unlikely. I think Scoot Henderson is a lock at number 2. I don't think Charlotte will move on from it. You just have the ability. I talked about this on my show earlier today, the NBA show. Look it up. I've mentioned that I view kind of Cade and Scoot Henderson as very similar products in the sense of, if you remember from 2 years ago, or now is it 3 years technically? No, 2 years since we drafted Jalen Green. If you remember the discourse then, it was like Cade was pretty much a lock to go number 1. But there were still rumblings and rumors that they could be listening to offers, or that the Rockets were a team that could potentially trade up for number 1. I think Scoot and Cade are very similar prospects in the sense of like hype and talent. I would view Cade Cunningham as slightly better coming out of college or the G League, just a better prospect, slightly better prospect than Scoot Henderson. That's somebody I wouldn't imagine. Like, Scoot would be the number 1 draft pick if Vic wasn't in it. So with that being said, LaMelo plays off ball so well, and just Charlotte's ability to get like another franchise-esque guy that's going to lead to ticket sales. People are going to want to play with you. It's explosive. It's athletic. It's the next Lob City. I don't think Charlotte moves on from number two. So then we get to number three with Portland. I think they would be interested in an idea of it if we really wanted Amon Thompson, because I don't think Amon Thompson to Portland makes much sense in the world, in the sense of LaMelo can play off ball with Scoop very easily. I think that would be very, very easy actually for them to do as a duo. Amon Thompson is a guy who needs the ball in his hands. Damian Lillard is a guy who needs the ball in his hands. If Portland wanted to go with the future, Amon Thompson's the clear-cut choice over Brandon Miller to me. I think Portland ends up with Brandon Miller, so maybe if we really wanted three, but at that point, it's like, all right, why are we trading up for three to get Amon if Brandon Miller is going four? If Portland wants Brandon Miller and they are going to take him at three, I know this is like a little confusing, but it's just like that would mean some other team probably wants to trade up to number three to take Amon Thompson. So I don't think we trade up from number four is basically the point I'm trying to get at here. Uh, yeah. So Marcus is saying, I read somewhere that Zion to Charlotte for the number two pick. I don't think Charlotte does that. That gets me excited. I think that would be a very cool Zion in Charlotte with LaMelo Ball, but I don't think that they trade the pick. I think we got a couple of comments here on Brooks. I think Brooks is what we got next up. I have a couple of things here. We just did this. We'll talk. I guess we'll just do this one real quick. This came out today. The Rockets are now extremely heavy betting favorites to sign Dillon Brooks in free agency. We got Chris Jones. Is Brooks being considered a veteran for our guys 100%? I hear the Rockets are front runners to sign Dillon Brooks. So, Dillon Brooks would definitely be that veteran type of guy that we would sign. Okay, now we're back. All right. If you've been watching these streams all week, I'm basically like back home in Chicago for the week. I go back to Florida tomorrow. Every stream we've done on this has failed at some point, so I apologize for that. But we're back, and we still got 15 people in here. So, I mean, Dillon Brooks would be a relatively cheaper option, same age as Cam Johnson. I think Cam Johnson is going to get paid a lot more than Dillon Brooks. I love what Dillon Brooks offers on the defensive side at his position, especially, but even just in general, he's one of the best defensive players in the league. I mean, made an all defensive team this past season. Dillon Brooks' three-point shooting has taken a turn for the worse recently. He's a career 34% three-point shooter. Last year, he shot 32.5%. The year before that, he shot just 31%. And like his first 4 years in Memphis, he was shooting like over 35%. So that's, interesting. His points per game went down this season, 4 total points from 18.4 2 years ago, where he barely played, he got injured, to just 14.3 this past season. We heard it all saying Dillon Brooks, like, there's more to my bag than just a catch and shoot defensive 3-and-D type of player. I'm curious to see what that would be like. I don't hate it. I don't like it. I agree with Marcus here. I think playing under Ime, I think Houston as a culture is a great fit for Dillon Brooks. I wouldn't be upset with it. It's not my number one target. Dillon Brooks is not going to want to come off of the bench, so it kind of views like, all right, so let's take Amon at 4. Okay, so next season our starting lineup would be Amon Thompson and Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, Jabari Smith Jr., and Alperen Şengün. Probably still not going to get you a lock top 7. Sounds like a nice play-in team, especially if our guys, like, the goal is to continue to improve. Cam Johnson, Dillon Brooks. I'm trying to think of this damn point guard that I saw in a lineup with, I think Brook Lopez signed 2, Dillon Brooks signed 2, and there's another point guard that was there. I guess it's neither here nor there, but I'm on the fence with Dillon Brooks. I don't really have, honestly, that strong of an opinion on what we decide to do. But the age is there, the defense is definitely there, and I think being with Ime would be exactly what would extract the most from Dillon Brooks to get him back on track. I'm not expecting an 8, and I don't need him to score 18 and a half points if he were a Houston Rocket, but I think 15 is a great baseline to have. And then finally, this is what I really wanted to talk about. We have the draft here. So, I guess Jonathan Wasserman did an updated mock draft, and he said, Clutch fans said, Jonathan says that while Amon and Osser have been popular projections at number 4, league sources believe Cam Whitmore is becoming the favorite to land with Houston Rockets. What do we have here? The potential signing of James Harden would create a difficult fit for an incoming 20-year-old ball handler like Amon Thompson. Wasserman explicitly ties the Cam pick to Harden returning, and that is far from a sure thing. So this is exactly my stance here. It's what I was talking about with Portland. If we draft Amon Thompson, which I fully believe we should, guys like Amon Thompson don't come into the league much. I think he should be selected at number 3. Cam Whitmore is enticing. He's intriguing. He's going to be. What's up, Gio? How you doing, man? Nice to see you. I hope you're still. I feel like I haven't seen you post a video in a while. So figure that one out. Anyways, if we draft Amon Thompson, the ball's got to be in his hands. What's up, Balin? How you doing, man? Cam Whitmore is the pick if the Rockets anticipate James Harden coming back. The last thing in the world I want is to have these 3 players on my basketball team at the same time for the future development of Amon Thompson is Amon, Jalen, and James Harden. That will not work. Maybe long-term it's fine if you get James Harden 2 years and then like 2 years from now, Amon's, like the point guard. But Cam Whitmore works off the ball well. He can shoot. He can drive. He can defend. He can do all the things you want him to do. For some reason, Cam Whitmore's a phenomenal talent, and he should not fall further than 5 in the draft. I think he fits more with Detroit better because he doesn't create for himself. He does not have a good handle in general. Cam Whitmore doesn't have a good handle. So that's the thought process. If you have, James Harden setting up the ball, Cam Whitmore's going to work. That's why I think Cam Whitmore at 5 to Detroit makes a lot of sense because I have Cade Cunningham, I have Jaden Ivey who are going to create for themselves and their teammates where, I don't need Cam Whitmore to do all this ball handling on his own. The idea without James Harden or without a Chris Paul or without a reliable point guard, as much as I love Kevin Porter Jr., I'd want a more sturdy, reliable, veteran-esque guy in general if it's not Amon. My concern is having Jabari Smith Jr. and Cam Whitmore out on the court at the same time because neither of them Cam Whitmore's handle is kind of what I viewed Jabari as last year, where it's like he's still going to score, he's still going to make his threes, he's still going to defend, he's still going to be a good rookie basketball player, he's going to have a bright future in the league, he has one already. But having Jabari and Cam Whitmore creating for their own on the court at the same time, to me, poses issues. I get the concerns for Amon Thompson, and I get the concerns for his jump shot. I actually love Anthony Black going to Houston at number 4, which is something they wouldn't do. Maybe they would trade back. I think most mocks have Anthony Black going number 8. The guy sees the court so well. To me, it's Amon Thompson at number 4. This is just the pick for me. I would not be pleased if we lost out on him. And I view it almost similar to having an athletic guy like Evan Mobley. Thankfully, we have JG4 and we have Jalen Green. To be honest with you, I'll read in Twitter, read in the comments, read in these streams. It seems like most people are straying away from Jalen Green being our franchise piece. I just want to get that out there. I think Balin makes a great point in a very similar way of Cam Whitmore being Jaylen Brown. It's also important to note Cam Whitmore is coming from Villanova, who all they do is produce NBA talent. It is also important to note that Jay Wright was not with Villanova last season. Um, the more we get closer to the draft, the stronger opinions I have on who we should take. Still hasn't gotten to the point where, if we took Cam Whitmore, I'd be pissed. If we took, anybody, I'd be pissed. Even if we took Jarace Walker, it would definitely not be my favorite pick. I think he's a great basketball player. Defensively is awesome. Um, Offensively limited. Do we need offense? I don't know. There's just a lot of speculation. That's what that's the thing with pre-draft stuff that I try to stay away from outside of Rocket content is there's so many hypotheticals, man. There's so many ifs, ands, or buts about it where, we could play this game of like, as we're doing it on the screen right now. Well, if James Harden's actually going to be a Houston Rocket, that changes who we draft because Amon Thompson, Cam Whitmore, Brandon Miller, these guys are on the same level. Maybe there's variations of who's 1A, 1B, 1C, but their potential, their talent, I feel like is all very similar. Amon Thompson, Cam Whitmore, Walker, the other Thompson twin, like these are good basketball players. So if you view them all talent-wise the same, well, then you got to draft based on fit, right? Because we're like, all right, they all have the same or similar talent, but who fits us better? And if the Houston Rockets decide to go in a direction where you're going to acquire a new starting point guard, Amon Thompson does not make much sense. Okay. I do not want Amon Thompson playing off ball. I know he could do it, but I don't want him playing off ball. All right. So if you're getting James Harden, the right pick's probably Cam Whitmore. And I'd still take Cam Whitmore. And as Balin's saying, I would also love to take Brandon Miller. I just don't see the only world I could see that happening is if Toronto trades for number 3 and then you go like Toronto trades for number 3 because they're blowing it up and they want, or they're, they're retweaking a blow up with Scotty Barnes and they take Amon Thompson at 3 and then Brandon Miller is available at 4. One thing I mentioned in our last live stream was, if we go back to last year's draft class, like Jabari was the number 1 pick, like all regular season, all college basketball season, Jabari was number 1. And it felt like until the last week, the last couple of days, draft day, that it was like, okay, it looks like kind of Paolo is going to be the number 1 pick. Jabari ended up going number 3. So there's just so much speculation. There's so much smoke screens going out there right now that it's hard to really, believe what you're reading. It's hard to believe what you're seeing and all this type of stuff here. That's it for the subjects. That's it for the topics that I had planned to talk about today. So definitely, just like Marcus did, throw some comments, throw some thoughts, throw some opinions, some questions, throw whatever you want down below. And let's get into it because we've only been live for 18 minutes. I like doing these. All right. I know this is off topic, but did you hear about Tari saying LP coming back from Turkey 7 foot? I did see that. That was very cool. Şengün's still very young, very, very young player. I think it's Balin who's not like huge on Şengün. I'm very big on Şengün. Man, I think losing Şengün would be a mistake. I think it would be a mistake. I think he needs another full season. I mean, I keep in mind last year, my boy Jorge takes me to the Houston Rockets home opener, and who's the starting center? His name wasn't Alperen. So I know Silas wasn't the best coach for Şengün. That's just a straight up fact. So I want to see a season of Şengün. And after that, it's not like Şengün's going to shit the bed. He's going to have value. So, all right. Kasim King, Cam Whit will be a star, man. He's the pick, not Amon. Yeah, Balin would certainly agree with you. Cam Whitmore is going to be a great basketball player, and he's going to have an impact day one on whatever team he falls to. I still think he fits Detroit so freaking perfectly. I think the fit in Detroit makes so much sense. But then I also think Jarace Walker fits in Detroit. But then also all those guys work in Houston. So I'm taking Miller over Cam at 4. Cam is not a small forward. He's more of a shooting guard. Regardless of your opinion on the position, I probably too would take Brandon Miller at 4 if Amon goes number 3. A lot of people forget the whole murder thing with Miller, so I think there's a real chance he can slip a bit. Brandon Miller is just a fascinating prospect, for that reason, just his talent alone as well. Just the best college basketball player this past year. Usually the best player in college basketball goes number 1. Brandon Miller, if he went into the draft last year, would have been, around the same place. So I don't think it's crazy that you're saying that, because it wouldn't shock me in the world. I don't think it'll happen, but it would not shock me in the slightest, actually. Tillman would take so much shit for letting LP go. He might even get boycotted. Yeah, I can't get rid of LP yet. I mean, we gave up 2 firsts. They're not even going to get rid of him. I think it's just not even going to happen. Give me Scoot Henderson. I'll take him. I think a lot of these guys were highly misused under Silas. I'm thinking a lot of our guys are going to take some pretty big leaps. I agree. I think getting a more reliable point guard goes a very long way as well. I'm very, very open to the idea of Chris Paul coming to the Houston Rockets. I also really want Amon Thompson, so I mean, yeah. Şengün needs an 18-foot jumper and a good hook shot. Without that, he's gone next year. Şengün added so much within his bag. I think you bring up a really good point, David. Şengün improved his existing bag last season. We saw some new things. I think this upcoming year is when we really see him add a lot of new, tricks in the cookie jar or whatever it is, however that saying goes. I don't even know if that's a saying. But I do think we see a more – I mean, LP shot well from downtown last year. He just wasn't taking any threes really at all. I mean, he wasn't even taking a 3 a game, but it was an improvement from last year statistically. So I would agree in the sense that this is a big year for Şengün just in general, as far as, you're entering year 3. What do we have in you? What do we see in you? What's your ceiling? What's your floor? What's our future looking like? Do you make sense with the future of what we're looking like? So, yeah, man, the Şengün case is big. I get people not wanting to call him the next Jokic or calling him a baby Jokic and, saying, he's like Sabonis and Jokic. What Şengün's been able to do at such a young age, regardless of the coach and, regardless of if he's like Jokic or Sabonis or if he's not, like, he's just a very impressive, very talented basketball player. And I think, I've said this before, but Jokic and the Nuggets winning the championship this past season, it's got me thinking, shit, dude, Şengün at the 5 would be just fine as long as he's got effort, he's got the energy. That's a big part of defense and what makes you good on the defensive side. We saw Jalen Carter slip in the NFL draft for character concerns, etc., and he was insane at Georgia. Yeah, dude. I mean, it's a good point. I still believe actually Jalen Carter, talent-wise, is the best player in that entire draft class. And I can't believe he fell to where he fell. And I can't believe where he fell, to what team he fell to as well. I mean, obviously football and basketball are different. He's not, Brandon Miller's not going to fall to 9. Somebody's going to take that. I do think a lot of teams screwed up not taking Jalen Carter while they had the chance. But I definitely get what you mean. I think Şengün can do all that. He was being told not to shoot under Silas. My thing with Şengün is that he's a defensive liability and is almost primarily a post scorer. If he could extend that range and become a legitimate 3-point shooter, get that deep mid-range, we've seen him do it. We've certainly seen him do it. Defensive liability, I just go back to Jokic, man. I thought the Nuggets had no shot at winning the NBA Finals because of Jokic's defensive limitations. The energy, the hustle, the scheming. That's why I think having Jabari, if we didn't have Jabari at the 4, different combo. But Jabari can play the 5. Jabari can play the 5 on both sides. Jabari can protect rims. He can help weak side. I'm not a huge concerned about defensive limitations with Şengün as I used to be like this time last year. I like Miller. He fixed what Houston wants to do. Brandon Miller on Houston would be awesome. Him and Jabari, especially just physically are very similar. And yeah, as you're saying, Jokic stretches the floor. You definitely don't want Jokic taking in a wide open 3. So That's what's going to be. And, we see it with Sabonis, right? Sabonis in the playoffs. That's a great point, Balin. What did we see with Domantas Sabonis in the playoffs against Golden State Warriors? They let that dude do whatever the hell he wanted on the offensive side, outside of in the painted area. If Sabonis had the basketball outside of the painted area in the first round of the playoffs against Golden State did not give a single damn what he had to do. What's the trend? Sabonis can't shoot. What can Jokic do? Shoot. So, yep, Şengün's got to shoot, man. The thing about Jokic, he's really good at everything post-game, midi, three-point, can assist, rebound, high. So, it brings up, all right, well, Nikola Jokic, since he got into the league, he's a good basketball player. He's been a good basketball player. Now he's 28. Very impressive, actually, that he's still with Denver at that point. But when was his first All-Star? It was his fourth year. So, yeah, I mean, Jokic's first year, he's only shooting 33%. In his first 2 seasons, he's shooting 33-ish% from downtown. Rookie year, 10 points, 7 rebounds, 2.5 assists. Then we see the breakout in his second year. I get it. But Jokic just had 4 years of his NBA career shooting below 33% from downtown. That's pretty surprising to me. Jokic only took 2.2 threes a game this past season. So not a career low, but the year before that, he took 4. What do you do in the playoffs? 4 threes a game, as he should. And keep in mind, I mean, Denver was like the team to beat all year. They didn't really need Jokic to do anything crazy, as we saw in the last 10 games of the season, where Jokic didn't, what did he miss, 5 games? Yeah, automatic Hall of Famer. He was hitting the dark fade in the EuroLeague. I'm not worried about him offensively, defensively. I'm more certain he can at least become serviceable on the defensive end. And yeah, Balin just doesn't feel the same. All right, guys, that's it. I gotta edit a Minnesota Vikings video last night here in the beautiful city of Chicago. Got the worst weather in the world. It's another cloudy day. So I'm excited to be back in the Florida sunshine. Get any questions, anything out in the chat right now. But I appreciate all y'all tuning in here, even with the Wi-Fi issues. Can't even be making videos in this house because of the Wi-Fi, because that just happens and it's very annoying. But I've pretty much gotten rid of the Let's Talk Rockets Twitter. I think my YouTube is Jelstro YT if you guys want to follow it. I don't tweet much ever, and I think that needs to change because I want people to come. Guys, we have 17 people in here right now. I get it. I've covered the Rockets for several seasons now, and I love you guys so much. You guys are literally awesome, but my daily live NBA show, people just don't be watching it. They just don't be watching it. That has nothing to do with anybody here. But it gets me thinking, it's dude, I was live today for no viewers, but I come on here and talk Rockets. I got 20 people in here. I got to figure this shit out. And I think Twitter is, as much as I hate social media, it's a good way to build a career. So I posted, I know all of you guys watching this right now remember KPJ dropping 50 points, 11 assists, and 9 threes against the soon-to-be NBA champions Milwaukee Bucks. I posted that on Twitter I posted his fourth quarter on Twitter last night. So I'm gonna be posting a lot of Rockets fun stuff on Twitter. You know what? Because we're here, because you guys are awesome, and you always watch these things all the way through. It's actually crazy. I'm gonna throw my YouTube in the bio. The description of this live stream, my Twitter will be there if you guys want to give it a follow, or just type in Jelstro YT, but I don't think people are going to know. All right, it's saved. If you refresh it, you'll see my Twitter. That is it for today. Have a great weekend. We will definitely see you before the weekend is over. So stay tuned for that, but I appreciate y'all. Hit the like button, hit that sub button for daily Rockets content. My name is Jackson. That's it for me. Peace.